Going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another video. If you guys haven't already, please hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. So just a few channel updates, channel reminders. NYY News TV, Twin Bill Podcast. You can order your merch, stuff like that. But the podcast itself, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NYY News TV YouTube channel. So go and check that out. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more fun. Baseball season is coming upon us now. And it's not just going to be boring topics about this and whatever, just bullshit comes to our mind. It's going to be about real baseball, the stuff that's going on, and it's going to be really fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to the future of that journey with my brother and with the guys, NYY News TV. Please go subscribe to the channel. In terms of later on Wednesdays, Boys in the Big Apple, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not happening next week because I will be in Boston. Hopefully I'm not, jumped, because I will be wearing this. I mean, I don't care. It's not Philly. I know I'll be heckled. I don't care. But with that being said, I'm going to Boston next week for spring break, going to Fenway Park to have, go on a tour and stuff like that. So I'll be wearing this, proudly enough. But that's not happening next week. Boys in the Big Apple will happen the following week, where we're going to have a lot of topics. We're going to have spring training, NFL free agency, and also NBA season wrapping up, at least the regular season. So 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that. And then Thursdays, new podcast, rotating channels between me and Sox Arizona. Yankees, Red Sox, MLB talk, AL East talk, a lot of fun stuff. I can't wait for the trash talk and a lot of the discussions we're going to have. He is going live for opening day, so unfortunately the first part, unless my class gets canceled and, not really hoping anything bad happens to the professor, obviously. I'm just hoping that class is canceled. But with that being said, I will be joining him late on April the 7th against the Red Sox. And it's weird because the day we did our first stream, baseball came back, and April 7th is a Thursday, and the Yankees face the Red Sox on opening day. And if my class was canceled, I would probably try to get tickets to the game as well. But obviously, there's a lot of games that I could go to this year. But the Dead Red podcast, it had almost 100 views. It's definitely climbing there, so I appreciate you guys for coming out. It's going to be a real fun journey. It's going to be a fun journey, and I really enjoy doing this stuff for you guys. So definitely check out Sox. His channel, I keep forgetting the name. He does music reactions, but it's going to be a fun journey. And NFL free agency is set to begin within a few days, tampering especially, so look out for some videos on here. So in this video, we're going to talk about some of the moves that the New York Giants have made. Just a basic recap here. Nothing too long, nothing too short, but we're going to talk about it. So we'll go with, let's see, pay cuts and restructures. Then we'll go into releases. Then we'll go into signings. So let's go into the restructures and the pay cuts. Let's start with one, Sterling Shepard. So they haven't released too many financials on Sterling Shepard just yet in terms of, this, he was supposed to do whatever. But what I did get is pre-restructure, his cap number for 2022 was supposed to be around $12.4 million. And that would have been devastating for the Giants going into a rebuild once again. And with that being said, he cannot stay on the field. So they restructured it to where if he gets all the incentives and stuff like that, his maximum salary, his maximum cap hit, I believe, for 2022 is about $5.2 million. And I like the restructure in a couple of different ways. There's ways where I don't like it. I'll explain in just a minute. But I like the restructure because the Giants are creating cap space. They're not going to spend a ton in free agency, but they're creating some cap space. And if you would have cut him, you would have been saving less and incurring more dead cap money. Now, why do I not like this in all aspects? Is because Sterling Shepard is coming off an Achilles injury, right? And he's been hurt almost all of his career. Concussions, lower body, upper body, whatever the case may be. And he's a kindred spirit to have on the field. I think he is a leader, and maybe other people don't think that way, but I think he's a leader. I think he's just a kindred spirit to have in the locker room. With that being said, I feel like he's going to flash in camp or flash the first few weeks of the season, and then we have our hopes up. Okay, Sterling Shepard, he's going to be healthy, and then he gets hurt, and all hope is lost. He is set to become a free agent in 2023, so there is that. But in terms of Sterling Shepard, listen, he's a kindred spirit, but we have to actually see if he stays on the field this season. I don't have any hope for it. I still think the New York Giants, wherever, should draft a wide receiver. Not the first round, please. Like second, third, fourth round. If a good player falls or whatever the case may be, select a wide receiver. Darius Slayton's not the answer. Kenny Galladay, we don't know if he fits the system that the Giants are going to run. And Kadarius Toney is really the only guy that we know is really going to be a long-term solution. Even that is a sketchy topic to talk about. So the next restructure is Blake Martinez. Coming off an ACL injury, and there was a lot of rumors. Oh, is he going to get cut? Is he not going to get cut? What's the story with Blake Martinez? So they restructured him, and I like this move. I understand he's coming off an ACL injury, but it's kind of different with him. And he didn't really have a great season to start out in 2021. The defense really didn't start out great. But 2020, he was one of the biggest playmakers for the New York Giants defense. And obviously, once again, that was under Patrick Graham, different story, and he's in Las Vegas right now. But the Giants would have saved $8.5 million by cutting him and $5.5 million in dead cap. But the numbers, I think, haven't officially been released in terms of his salary, his cap hit now, and all that stuff. This was just done today. I'm recording at 10:24 on March 11th, so things can change, whatever the case may be. But with that being said, I'm happy Blake is back. I still think the New York Giants should take a linebacker in this draft, whether it be Asamoah or Chad Muma, one of those guys, because Blake Martinez, if they didn't extend his contract with restructuring it, because you could do that sometimes, kind of shift the money off into future years, he is going to be a free agent after this season. So it's likely right now he's not that long-term option in linebacker, and we need somebody to come in and just be ready to step in. So that is part of the restructures. Now let's go over to who got cut. And this one I didn't like. I understood it in some ways. And it's not that, it's Joe Shane's fault or Brian Dable's fault. It's really the fault of the last 2 years of Joe Judge and Jason Garrett, that regime, because this guy really showed in Daniel Jones' rookie year that, hey, don't forget about me. You guys are talking about Jones to Slayton. How about Jones to Smith? Caden Smith was cut with a failed designation, whatever the hell it's called, injury designation he was cut with. The Giants saved about $2.5 million in cap space. And once again, I feel like he could have been at least a tight end too. The Giants have 3 tight ends right now under contract, and they are nowhere near starters in the NFL. Probably not even tight end 3s in the NFL, in my personal opinion. You got Chris Myrick, Jake Hausman, and Rice and John. I don't think they make a roster anywhere else. They will compete for some of the spots, but it just shows you that the New York Giants this offseason, whether it's the draft, of free agency, or via trade maybe, that they're going to restructure and really rebuild that tight end room. Maybe for some guys that can actually block and actually catch, but Evan Ingham's a free agent. Caden Smith got cut. Kyle Rudolph got cut, so those are your 3 tight ends. And this past season, Caden Smith had 3 catches for 33 yards. I mean, that's just very depressing. And once again, it's not all Caden Smith's fault. I barely blame him in this situation. Obviously, he got hurt towards the end, and that could hamper his career possibly, I think. I don't want to make a big deal out of it if it's not supposed to be a big deal, but I really wanted Caden Smith to work out. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. It didn't happen, and now he's going to possibly be with another team in training camp, whatever the case may be. So I'm happy about this next one. This happened about, I think, 2 days ago, whatever the case may be. The New York Giants cut Riley Dixon. They cut him, saves about $2.8 million in cap space. And in 2019, he averaged about 46.1 yards per punt, which was ideally his best season. 2018, he did good, but 2019 was his best campaign as a Giant. And then when Joe Judge came in, and I feel like, seriously, and this is not just, some conspiracy theory or whatever, I really feel that he fucked with Riley Dixon a little bit and just screwed up his whole mentality and the whole special teams, because you saw a dip in special teams play. In the last 2 years, Riley Dixon, 44 yards per punt. That's not great. Obviously, we have Jamie Gillen on the roster, and he isn't great either, so I think they may draft a punter. They may sign another punter for competition. But Riley Dixon is gone. He should have been gone last offseason. I don't know what Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge were thinking by keeping him around another year, but his punting really would have never truly impacted it in ways where, he's going to get the Giants a win or a loss. But he just should have been cut earlier. That's just my personal opinion. And then the Giants made 2 signings. So I'll go over the easiest one first before I go into the other one. The Giants re-signed exclusive rights free agent David Sills. He was formerly of the Bills, so Joe Shane and Brian Daboll have to be at least a little familiar with him. I think he came out of West Virginia in 2019, so yes, they probably should be familiar with him. He started 1 game last year, and that was the whole Mike Glennon, Jake Fromm era, so obviously he didn't get a lot of great opportunities. He was actually one of the leading receivers, I think, in the Eagles game with 2 catches for 17 yards. He had 1 first down on the season, 6 targets. So he's a preseason body, the Sills Army. I mean, he's not really much of anything on an NFL field in the regular season, but in the preseason, he shows out usually, and that's what he's going to be. He's probably going to get cut during training camp or at the end of the preseason. So the next guy they signed is Matt Gono, and I've been hearing his name for a little while. I don't know the contract numbers, but it's a low-risk, high-reward depth signing. And this is really what the Giants need to do. They don't need to sign guys off of practice squads or trade for guys like Ben Bredesen. That's not the way to go in terms of depth, and I think the Giants really need depth. Matt Parrott is probably not going to be the answer as the swing tackle next year coming off an ACL, and Nate Solder's gone. Also, as well, you don't want to waste too many draft picks. Not really wasting, but you don't want to use too many draft picks on tackles. Let's just say they select Ikem Ekwonu or somebody they like in the first 2 rounds as the starter offensive tackle for, how many years to come. If they need to address punter or if they need to address running back or backup offensive guard, they don't want to spend it on a tackle. And Matt Gono, shouts to Bobby Skinner. He did a breakdown on Matt Gono in his time with the Falcons, especially 2020, because he got a lot of snaps there. He started 4 games out of the 16 he played in. He didn't play this past year because he was on the PUP list. He was done for the season. It was either NFI, which is a non-football injury, but I believe it was PUP. But anyway, just some key stats. He can also play guard, but he's not really good there. He's better at tackle, and he's very athletic. I will put it out there. In some games within the last 2 years of his career, not counting 2021, so 2019, 2020, he allowed 1 pressure when he started at right tackle against the Dallas Cowboys. He allowed 3 pressures at right tackle against the Chicago Bears. He didn't allow a pressure or a sack when facing against Joey Bosa, Uchenna Nwasu, and some of those other guys against the Chargers. He allowed 4 pressures against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And when he faced the Kansas City Chiefs, when the Falcons faced the Chiefs, he gave up 6 pressures and a sack. So that was actually at left guard, and he didn't do too well. Obviously, he's versatile, but once again, more athletic. He's better suited at right tackle or just swing tackle overall. And I personally like what I do see from him on the teeny tiny bits of film from his time in Atlanta. Now, in 2019, at least I think this is correct. If it's not, my mistake. He earned 36 snaps at left guard and 4 snaps at right guard. 2020, he earned 336 career snaps. It was career high in snaps, but he earned 336 snaps, 232 coming at right tackle, 68 at left guard, 9 at left tackle, and 27 as the jumbo tight end. And during the 2020 campaign, Gono allowed a sack, 5 quarterback hits, and 16 pressures. So I think it's a good signing. Obviously, they will need to bolster the depth with whoever they bring in. Maybe they bring in Ekwonu or some of these other guys. You need depth, right? That's been the problem the last couple of years with the Giants. They don't have depth. They've really not been able to produce depth and sign depth. They haven't been able to get depth, and it's been just excruciating the last couple of years, especially last year with Bredesen and Skura and Will Hernandez. I'm tired of seeing that, and with that being said, I like the signing, but it's nothing to write home about totally because it's a swing tackle signing. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops for your drops. Appreciate you all coming back. Check out some of the new videos I'm going to be posting within the next few days. Also, check Dead Red Podcast and Boys of the Big Apple and Twin Bill as well. A lot of content coming out. Baseball season is coming upon us. NFL free agency is hitting at a good time as well. Peace out, guys. See you later, and stay cool.